Michael Page just came out with a report saying the majority of employees will be seeking a new role in the next 6 months. Van Hamer from PwC said, and I quote, "We're about to see a massive exodus of workers, and there's no going back to the way things were. Between 40 and 50% of the labor market are looking to leave their employer in the next 12 months. Now I'm reading this and I'm thinking, thank you God, hallelujah, this must be like recruitment heaven. And look, to be honest, it probably has been recruitment heaven for us. We've had record quarter after record quarter. But in all seriousness, these are some horrid statistics. If I was a partner in an accounting firm, I'd probably be shitting myself thinking, how the hell am I going to service my clients when half my staff are gone in 6 months' time during the busy period? Being an ex-auditor, I had to corroborate, because that's, you know, what does the majority mean? Is it 50.1%? Is it 75%? So let's have a look. We've got Australia at 56%, okay? Now, if I was an accounting partner in India, I would be very worried right now. 86%, very bad. My wife is Indian, so I feel like I can make these jokes. I'm going to ask you some questions throughout the presentation, so please, just quickly raise your hand so I get a bit of feedback to see what's actually happening in the industry. So, who's had a year from hell when it comes to staff and recruitment? Yeah? Most of you? Come on guys, raise your hand. Don't be shy. Can everyone hear me, by the way? Yeah? So what are the... Look, I'm going to speak about kind of 3 things. Because I come from a recruitment background, I'm also an accountant, so 15 years of doing this, I've spoken to thousands of accounting firms and I've recruited for hundreds of them. So I'm going to talk about 3 issues. What are the current issues and trends in the marketplace? Why some firms are doing better, or so much better than others when it comes to recruitment and retention? And what changes you can make in your firm to improve your recruitment and retention? Okay? By the way, I don't want anyone to have a nervous breakdown or heart attacks when you look at this stats. So I'll take them with a massive grain of salt. Because people are funny creatures. We start diets, we join the gym, hardly ever actually follows through. So when I'm sure the guy was asking, oh, you think you're changing your job? Yeah, kind of. My friends have changed. I heard they got pay rises. Kind of want to do that too. I doubt half your workforce will be gone in 6 months, so don't panic. Otherwise, in 1 or 2 years, it'll probably just be you and the receptionist working in your accounting firm, right? 56% every 6 months. So, what are the issues? Well, we've got a little thing called Covert. We've had the government relief program. Already got our overworked staff that had to deal with government cash flow boost program, this cash flow boost, trying to figure that out. They got burnt out, yeah? Fair enough. We've also got we already had chronic staff shortages as it is. Now, some of you handled it better than others, okay? You over-communicated, you showed empathy to your staff, you did a great job. Others probably dropped the ball in the comms part, probably lost a few clients, probably lost a few staff as a result. We've got work from home as part of, COVID. Really stressful transition for both, clients, staff, firms. People had to merge their work and family lives during lockdown, with many having to balance, homeschooling, productivity, and that's not an easy thing from what I've heard. So, you've got others that are facing isolation and mental health issues, all of which exacerbate pressure on staff who traditionally work long hours as it is. So, when you're in that situation, you might as well, you're probably going to start looking at industry roles or government roles, And if you're not doing that and you like practice, well, why not go to practice down the road that's offering 20 grand more for the same headaches, right? Once again, some of you handled it well and showered your people with empathy and appreciation. Others, well, you know what you did or didn't do, right? But let's just go with apathy. Sounds like empathy, but a little bit different. We had border closures, both into Australia as well as the Democratic Republic of Queensland and the sovereign nation of Western Australia. We couldn't get staff from overseas due to closed borders, and we couldn't get them from interstate. So, and even now, some of our candidates, it's taking 7 to 10 months to get them sponsored. Okay, ridiculous. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and it takes ages for them to actually come through the borders. Another smart thing we did, we froze people's pays. So we've got this overburden, overworking, and we decided we're just going to freeze your pay, and we're just going to delay your promotion. Probably not the smartest thing to do, yeah? So the other thing is, look, we've got really intense competition. We've got Big Four that have their massive talent acquisition teams that are doing crazy sign-on bonuses. We've got the usual industry paying 20, 30 grand, as they usually do to your staff without timesheets, and they can clock off at 9 to 5 kind of thing. You've got not-for-profits, you've got fintechs and cool startups now, you know, everyone gets the millennials excited. So, you know, everyone is after this tiny pool of people, and they're offering more than what you can offer, which is scary. The biggest issue I see right now are the crazy salary expectations. Now, who's actually public practice in the audience? Is everyone? Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Everyone's coming and they're inflating their, yeah? Okay, I see a lot of heads nodding. Look, I had an intermediate recently on 55K, newly finished CA. Yes, I know it's low, but I got 5 interviews in 24 hours and 3 offers in 48 hours. Okay, that's how hot the market is. I had one client offer her 55K, lowballed her to match the same offer for some reason. Yeah, she was slightly transitioning to a different role, but still. Had another one that was offering 65K, and she went with an offer for 80K, okay? Huge pay rise, right? 25K. I obviously told her client, hey, why don't we start off on 70? She was like, flabbergasted, what? A recruiter telling me to lower the salary? I'm like, yeah, because I actually understand the nexus between salaries, charge-out rates, and, you know, write-offs. So I kind of want to set up my candidate for success. She's flabbergasted. Anyway, you know, we've got, as I said, we still have clients that are lowballing candidates because they just still haven't kept up with the market. So you do have to, might not go for crazy, but you do need to increase it. Now, whether that means you raise your fees, or whether that means you take a hit on your bottom line for a while, otherwise you won't have staff, right? Now, another story. I've got an audit candidate right now. Less than 12 months local experience in the Big Four. 2 years in the Big Four in India, like 4 years ago. She's on 63K right now. She got offered 90K last week by one of our clients. 90K, 63 to 90, 27K pay rise. The market is nuts. Okay, last time it was like that was like 2008, and we know what happened straight after that, the GFC. So I've sold all my shares. Let's see what happens. Look, I guess it's a massive issue in accounting firms because you're all structured to pay a certain dollar amount for each level, right? And it's scary bringing someone on that you're going to be paying more than your current staff that have more experience than this person you're bringing in. You know, what do you do? And it's a massive issue. You have to either increase pays to people, or one thing I've told my clients to do is, hey, start them off on a decent salary that's kind of in line with your staff. Yes, you do have to increase your staff pay as well, because that's part of being a good boss in this day and age. But do sign-on bonuses, you know, and then reward them later. Okay, that's one strategy that we've done. There's many more, but we can talk about it later. But look, you've got a basic supply and demand problem. Like, you've got CCADs that are up 72% from last year, and applications are down 63%. In other words, you've got more jobs chasing fewer people, okay? Now, I can generally get a candidate 5 to 10 interviews, okay, and 3 offers, okay? But I'm also competing with counter offers these days, okay? I've lost an astronomical amount of people that, I don't know, went to a barbecue or applied to a place 2 months ago. The place came back to them, was like, and they called me 2 days before they meant to start, a week before they meant to start, and just back out of their contracts. Okay, it's crazy, and look, it makes sense because there's either amazing offers or if you've got a person that says they're resigning, you're going to do everything you can to keep them, because would you rather keep the person who knows all your clients and all your, all your systems and you know the quality, rather than having to retrain someone, wait for months before you get another person, and pay an exorbitant fee to one of those evil recruitment agencies, present company excluded, naturally. So, you've, like, I don't know what's happening, but I don't know what they're teaching in the ethics module at CA, but it's crazy, and it's at all levels. I've had directors that are cancelled a week before they're meant to start because they got a better offer at a Big Four. That's me right now. That's how I feel every time I get an email or a call from a candidate a couple of days before they're meant to start. What's worse, I find, is it's a vicious cycle, kind of like inflation. You've got people that hear their friends are changing jobs, they've got 20, 30K pay rises, and obviously you're thinking, I'm better, I'm smarter, better accountant. So they go on the ground, right? And they get a pay rise. Even the fact that they're looking, it's tempting, right? So it becomes this vicious cycle at the moment. How are we going to get out of it? I don't know. I think just same as GFC, something's just going to have to change, Hopefully more migrants, hopefully more engagement from you guys, so you actually keep your staff, and there's a couple of things. Offshoring is one, but we'll talk about that soon. The other thing is expectation of flexibility. Some of you have adapted quite well in offering your staff some flexibility, others none at all. Now, having worked from home for the last 2 years for most people, it's really hard to take something away that you've had. It's hard to take something away once you've tasted the sweet nectar of being able to watch Netflix on your couch or Tuesday at lunch, scratching your balls and going to a gym session afterwards. Squid Games, anyone? So look, in a nutshell, you've got a really intense competition for an ever-shrinking pool of candidates, yet I still have partners telling me, Michael, no, I don't want any Chinese candidates, I don't want any Indian candidates, I don't want any mums of childbearing age, I don't want anyone over 50. I'm like, your talent pool is already so small. Like, what are you doing with these biased, baseless kind of assertions that you need to be focused on upskilling, reskilling, and thinking how you can integrate different types of candidates? You want to be expanding your pool of candidates, not decreasing. And we've got so many clients now that are open to remote people, from regional areas, from even the same city, but that don't want to go into the office anymore, and they're open to them, and they're getting staff, I've got other clients that say, no, Michael, no. My staff only work well in the office. I've tried it, it didn't work. Change your systems, change your mindset. So how do we solve this? We're accountants, so we need some data to solve problems. So let's have a look at the data from SEEK to figure out what the candidates are looking for. So you can still see the number one driver is still salary. Can't blame them, they're accountants after all, right? Numbers people. And hey, property prices aren't getting any cheaper in Sydney. So, if salary, look, I always say salary is one thing, yeah? But what we're finding now is, now that things are normalizing, people coming back to the office, a lot more people are saying, hey, I want work-life balance, hey, I want to work from home, hey, I need to work around my kids, can you get me a job like that? And they're happy to take a pay cut if you give them that, okay? So, it's a key priority for a lot of people. And also take into account different stages in life. Like a mother with 3 kids will want very different things to a newly minted CA that's 25 years old. Yeah? So, don't do this whole cookie cutter approach. So I'll give you a stat. Michael Page survey, 66% said they would sacrifice pay for a job that made them happier. And I'd say in my experience, that's about right. So no, not all your staff are money-hungry bean counters, okay? So we know there are plenty of issues, but why do I have some firms that tell me they have a good flow of candidates and others are desperate for staff? Isn't everyone meant to be in the same boat? Kind of. Everyone is struggling, but some are struggling in their super yachts and some are struggling in dinghies bailing water right now. The difference, I would say, is engagement. The other day I read somewhere, you can't put a dollar value on the power of an engaged workforce. And I'm like, bullshit. We'd all disagree here. We can put a value on anything, right? So how many of you actually know what engagement means? Like, I can hear some of you going, Michael, we don't do fluffy words like engagement and culture. You know, we're numbers people. So lucky for you, I came prepared. 21. So companies with engaged staff are 21% more profitable, much higher morale, 41% lower absenteeism. And yet, according to Gallup, only 10 to 20% of your staff are engaged. That means 80 to 90% of your staff unengaged. They don't want to show up. They're miserable. They come in for a paycheck, and if the guy down the road is offering a better paycheck, where do you think they're going to go? Those managers in India better get on this engagement bandwagon and talk to them. So let's talk about engagement. I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions. How many of you actually have taken any leadership or management courses and learned how to be a great leader and a people manager? A few, yeah, but the minority. Now we all do like all these CPD for CA and CPA and tax courses, but very rarely do we focus on engagement. Because thinking of a typical partner, they're either great at tax or they're great with clients, or sometimes both, but it's rare that they're great with people. They're great at being a people manager, okay? So it's something that you need to be aware of, because they're your only asset. Like think about that for a second. They're not your biggest asset, they're also your only asset. Without them, you don't have a practice, okay? Yet you dedicate so little time to it. How many of you have read a book on recruitment and retention? One person. Call me, text me, message me. I'll give you some recommendations. You know, how many of you know how to interview properly? Like, or do you just wing it? I reckon most of you just wing it. So, you know, how many of you test candidates? 3 people. Yeah, not tests, not those stupid personalities, culture stuff. Actually technical tests. Yeah? Good. Because, like, most recruiters are full of shit. Let's put it this way, they have no idea what they're talking about. Look, I'm an accountant, I know how the industry works, but most recruiters, no freaking clue. So all they care about is, you know, getting a commission and meeting their KPIs. Now I said most, by the way. So it's important to test your candidates so that you don't like hire someone because a recruiter told you they're good and then fire them a week later or complain about them for the next 6 months going, recruiters are shit. You know, like people are crap. There's no good people anymore. Okay, did you hire the right person, the right capacity? Did you test them? Do you know what they're capable of? Do you know where you need to upskill them? Do you know, or did you just have a candidate that prepped themselves really well and has been to 5 other interviews and knows exactly what to tell you, so you get yeah, I got a good feel about that guy, you know? Yeah, let's put an offer in, Michael. Okay? How many of you have external people to not only do tax training, but like come and do motivational talks, something that actually engages people? One. Okay, you keep putting your hand up. I'm gonna have to talk to you. You know, like team building exercises. Like tax training is dull. Yeah, get an improv crew in. Do a treasure hunt around the city. Do something fun. Set up some cool goals for the year and go on a retreat when you smash those goals. Get your staff involved. Get their opinions on how to run the practice. They're a wealth of information on how to improve your practice and better service your clients that you wouldn't even think of because you're like. Baz, deadlines, okay? So, guys, like, there's so much you can do. Like, I would love to see you realize that your staff putting up, like, cool selfies from their weekend away or your treasure hunt on your social media, that gets their friends talking. That gets their friends going, ooh, my firm doesn't do that. Like, can I come and work for yours? Basic stuff, but how many of you are doing it? You know, how many of you really know your staff, like what they're good at, what they enjoy doing, what they hate doing, okay? Because everyone I talk to, they're all cookie cutter approaches. Like, oh, no, we have our intermediates, our graduates, our seniors, they all do the same. They do the BAS, the reconciliation, tax, blah, blah, blah. I handle all the client contact, of course. Now, I can assure you I've got great candidates, but they all want to do different things. You know, I've got a guy that's got 15 years of experience and he tells me, Michael, I just want to pump out 300K worth of compliance work every year. I don't want to manage any staff anymore. Okay, great. I've got clients that are perfect for me. I've got staff that say, I don't want to do compliance work. I love managing a team and doing the review work and I've got someone that loves advisory work. You know? So there's so much you can do there. Just don't do the whole one-size-fits-all mentality 90% of the industry is doing. What are you doing to make them feel valued and appreciated? Like, you know, like just the give a fuck mentality. Do you give them a birthday day off? Do you give them, I don't know, do you know the kids' names? How many of you organized a dinner to be delivered to their house when they had COVID and they couldn't cook? Just basic shit. You know, just give your mums flexibility to pick up their kids, and I should say both parents, but let's face it, mums. They're the most loyal, hardest workers ever, and if you give them flexibility, they'll be loyal to you forever, because I appreciate it. How many of you sat down with your staff and actually explained the connection between productivity and a salary? You know? Hardly any of you. Most candidates I know do not know the connection. Okay, they have no idea how it works. How many of you explain how partnership works? How does financing work? What are the benefits? How do you become one? How much is it going to cost me? What's my return on investment if I buy in? You know, like, none of them know that. So if they don't know that, you have to ask yourself the question, why would they come and stay and work for you and have so many options and the pay is shit, you know? 47K. The other thing is there's hardly any meaning in work for a lot of your staff. You know, like we all heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. How many of you are actually connected to your staff to an end goal? Like what public practice is all about? It's the clients, it's the staff, it's the people behind the numbers. Yeah? You guys just get them in kind of back office, just pumping away balances and reconciliation. Boring shit. Meaningless. They don't want to show up to work. Share some client stories, take them to meetings. Explain the impact that work has had by doing some advisory stuff. Then you go from, like, when number crunching goes from the mundane to the meaningful. Okay? Most successful clients do all of the above, and they do three things really well. A, they're always hiring. Okay? They know that they need people and that people are going to leave, and they're always hiring. Two, they're great salespeople. They connect with the candidate really well, and they sell the role, they sell the firm, they sell the future, they explain the training, the development, how long it's going to take, they give them feedback on a regular basis. And also, I've had candidates where they had multiple offers and the offer might not be the greatest, but they really liked the partner and connected with them, and they still took that offer. So they're not all money hungry. Okay? The other thing is they move quickly. They make themselves available for interviews morning, night, weekends, whatever. You need to move quickly. And I'm not saying skip stage, I'm not saying don't rush to an offer. It means, like, give you an example. The other week I had a partner that did a first round in the morning, second round with another partner in the afternoon, testing overnight, offer in the morning. That's how quick it moves these days. It's crazy, but that's the reality. So, take a page out of the Ukrainian president's book and engage with the world. Like, get your website in order so you don't look like a firm that's run by a partner that still uses the abacus. Okay, like, get some videos of the team having fun, stand out. Yet what a typical firm does is they put up a job ad on Seek, a very lackluster ad, and hope for the best. And when that doesn't work, they call me. And they go, Michael, I want a unicorn. Sorry, I mean an Anglo-Saxon senior accountant, 3 to 5 years experience, qualified, terms and conditions apply. So, and by the way, don't negotiate with your recruiters for, like, don't go, I'm only going to pay you 12%. Why would I send you a unicorn for 12% when I can send them to one of your competitors for a full fee in this current market? When the market changes, sure, negotiate. But right now, silly, So the other thing, look, there's a couple of other points, is you're missing out on potential people because you're looking for someone that can do exactly what you want them to do, but realize people actually want growth, they want improvement. So reskill them, upskill, offer them to learn how to do audit, SMSF, client management, advisory. Because otherwise, if they're moving from one firm to another firm doing exactly the same thing, that means they can just move in 6 months' time to another firm that pays them a bit more. There's no reason for them to work, there's no growth there. So you're missing out on, the other thing you're missing out on as a potential talent is inflexibility, as I said before. Like, you need to think about your structures, your processes, your training, your expectations, both an opportunity and a challenge. Like, these people can save money, they can save time, they can spend more time with their families, relationships. That means you have a happier, healthier workforce. You're saving an office, you've got a bigger talent pool, you've got grateful staff. Like, there's so many benefits. And don't blame it on the people, like, that they, our staff don't work well. How many of you actually sat down and show them how to work effectively, full stop, let alone how to work effectively from home? Because it's different. working from home versus working in an office with someone looking over your shoulder, okay? And look, and some people naturally will not work well from home. Those are the ones you bring into the office, and that's okay. Hybrid, one thing for one person, another thing for another. No cookie cutter. The other solution I'm picking up in the market is the use of offshoring and outsourcing. Firms that used to say never are now embracing it and loving it, as it alleviates the staff shortages, okay? Creates more leverage, it gives their accountants an opportunity to do more interesting work. And the profit margins are huge, let's face it. I can get 4 CPAs in Philippines for the price of $1,000 in Sydney. Talk about over-servicing your client. So, look, now you know all the issues and possible solutions to staffing problems. I hope you take some time this weekend and reflect on what you can do better, even if it's just one of the things that we talked about, you know, so that I don't have to keep looking at resumes from all of your staff every single week. Nah, I'm only kidding, guys. Keep saying them my way. Thank you so much.